When will I stop being in pain, Dave?
You know, as a vampire doctor, I can confidently say that you have parasites inside your body, and that you must figure out what they are and what they want to eat, and appease them like a volcano god, and then they will leave you be.
Like what the fuck kind of parasites do I have?
That's a great question.
Do you need a stool sample?
No.
Do you want a stomach sample?
Mm-mm.
Do you want a urine sample?
I don't think I want any samples.
Well, how the hell am I supposed to figure out what the fuck the parasite
Trial and
is?
error.
Okay, so what would you suggest?
Okay, you're in pain now, so whatever you've been eating is not what it wants.
Okay,
Eat
Oreos.
different things. Eat different things.
Oh, but like what?
What's a thing you would not eat normally? Pears. Eat some pears. See if that works.
God.
I'm sorry.
I would rather be in pain than eat a pear.
Okay.
Actually, pears are okay. It would be like hot fruit.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Are you saying I should eat pie?
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's not pears. Maybe it's, turnips. I don't know.
How you get rid of parasites in general is just by flooding the system with...
No, you just appease them. Keep them happy.
So they're still living in me. But I don't want them in me.
Well, I mean, sorry. You're the one that made the bad choices. Drank that pond water.
I can't. When I see a good pond, man,
just
gotta dip my stainless steel mug into it.
The essence of life, right?
Right. Just eat it up a little bit, sprinkle some salt in there. Soup. Just saying.
River
Delicious.
water soup.
Dip a Oreo in it.
Oh. Hey, Amber.
Hi, Dave.
How are you?
I'm in pain.
You're in pain. Oh. I thought that had passed.
No, I mean, we've literally been talking for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Pain doesn't just leave a body.
Wow. It's hard being you.
Oh, don't I fucking know it, man. All right.
So, right now, if we change consciousnesses...
Yes, you would be fucking crippled.
And you would be fine.
Yeah.
You would be like, oh my God, my back doesn't hurt. Like, I'm going to go, jump over this building.
Can you jump over buildings?
No. No.
So what would happen is I would try to attempt to jump over a building, break every bone in your body.
No, you don't jump off the building. You would jump 6 inches off the ground and be like, oh shit, I've got this fat old man body.
Bust both your kneecaps.
Nah.
I'll land on the asphalt with your kneecaps. I'm going to destroy your body.
You know what? It's a race then.
You're going to run through a shredder. Put my arm into a wood chipper. Oh, God.
I don't know how this hurts Amber. It hurts me really bad. How do we switch back? You don't.
Oh, God, I'm sorry for everything.
Hey,
Switching consciousness?
Occasionally, no, different topic.
Okay.
Occasionally, I have brought you interesting books and magazine articles
that I never read?
Right, but just as points of discussion.
Right.
I've got one for you.
Oh, so you've handed me this book, which is in larger print, by the way.
Yeah.
It is a heartwarming, inspirational romance. Love-inspired.
It's the series, yeah.
Amish triplets for Christmas. I don't see any triplets in this picture.
Well, yeah, that's the first problem.
I see twins.
Okay, well, maybe the third one's, dead. How heartwarming is that?
I don't see... This is just 3 children and a mom reading a book. Okay, so it's very specific.
You should read the back cover.
All right, I'll read it.
To get the lead in here.
The Widower's Christmas Gift. Widowed father of triplets Sawyer Plank knows he has his hands full. After arriving in the Amish community of Willow Creek to help with the fall harvest, Sawyer asks school teacher Hannah Lance to be his nanny. With a deaf grandfather to care for, the offer is more than just a job for Hannah. It's a chance to fulfill her all but forgotten dream of being a mother. The children soon flourish under Hannah's watch, and though Sawyer never dreamed he'd find happiness again, he can't pretend he's not falling for her too. But with the holiday season heralding Sawyer's return to Ohio, can he make his Christmas wish to stay a family come true? So...
I fail to see the romance in that premise.
Well, I can see it.
I cannot. Not even close.
Because here's Hannah, caring Hannah, who's been taking care of her deaf deaf.
I like how he's a death grandfather.
I keep saying death grandfather. She's been taking care of her deaf grandfather.
Wait, is Hannah's deaf grandfather not Sawyer's?
Yeah.
All right.
So basically, Hannah gets this job. It's very much a Sound of Music situation.
Right.
Where it's like, here's this man who has all these children.
Uh-huh.
And here I am, a nun, or Hannah in this instance.
Right.
Who could never dream of having a family or anything because she's got too much responsibility, either to God or to her deaf grandfather.
Or she's a school teacher, though.
Yes. And so she becomes a nanny and she's taking care of these kids. And then on fucking top of that, this Amish guy is ripped.
He's
He's building shit all the time.
Okay.
And he's helping with the fall harvest.
Right.
Which means he's got fucking muscles.
Hmm.
And he's loving and has children. You can tell. See, this is why it's not written for you, Dave. It's written for me.
But okay. So having children, and you've like been around kids a lot.
Yes.
Kids are nasty.
No, I love kids.
I love kids too. Kids are nasty.
Okay, so?
And so you're combining the deaf, undoubtedly like bitchy old grandfather.
Right.
With 3 crazy ass kids who have not had a mother in their life. So like hands off dad. Oh my God, I got to help with the harvest. Kids, you manage yourselves. And they're like running around like wild animals. Meanwhile, like she steps in and is like trying to manage these 3 babies or toddlers or whatever. And like her grandfather who like has to be spoon fed. And like they're Amish, man. There's no diapers. There's no like washing machines. Like that's a lot of poop.
I'm reading this book now.
Good.
There's a lot of weird italicized words, like a miserable, lonely, bitter old coot.
Yep.
And nah, she moaned, scrabbling over the children to leap from buggy while it was still in motion. Nah. I don't know what she's talking about. She's writing her grandpa.
I think that's when she became a lichen.
Oh, gotcha.
That'd be a good story.
That would be a good story. Yeah. Do you mean, you'll marry me? Yeah, I will marry you, Sawyer. Like, I don't know why she sounds like that. I love you.
Wait, can you give her a Russian accent? I love you.
Yeah, I will marry you, Sawyer. Like, I love you. I don't know why she's Russian. Why'd you make me do a Russian
funnier. Yeah, no, that's not romantic at all. I don't want to take care of someone else's 3 babies and my own awful grandfather and give up my career and like no.
Schniggelfritz. They're German.
Well,
Amish?
Pennsylvania Dutch. Yep.
I see. So anyway, I'm into it.
Okay.
I would read this book.
Oh.
But not seriously.
Like I couldn't. There's not enough money.
You need a full-time wife, not a part-time cook.
Oh, that's awful.
Someone who'll keep your company, not just keep your house. You know what that means.
Like humping?
Full-time cook my dick. Sorry. Roast the sausage. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Why'd you hand me this?
Because it's a chaste, like, awful romance. And there's no sausages.
Oh, there's sausage all up in this. How do you think you got triplets?
Storks.
I give this book back to you.
Didn't you watch Boss Baby?
Yes.
That's how babies are made, right? From the factory, Baby Corp.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, it's awful, and I hate this series. I wouldn't read this. I was just joking. As I sit and read this whole book in front of you.
Yeah, as you're reading it right now.
But there's lots of books like that.
Oh, gosh, there's a lot of books like that. And there's a very particular segment of usually old ladies who read them.
It's the same story every time.
Right.
It's like some chaste, pure
like, I've
woman.
been tricked into having a family. Or tricked into a husband. Or
it reminds me of Jane Eyre.
Reminds me of Three's Company.
Oh, okay. I've never seen Three's Company.
I've never read Jane Eyre.
Well, then we're
like,
not.
How can we communicate?
I don't know. We have nothing in common.
Mm-hmm. Actually, we do have one thing in common.
What?
We both watched the movie Annihilation.
This is true.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Finally, some common ground where we can agree.
So I watched Annihilation earlier this year, and I loved it as a movie for reasons that probably Dave
Shares entirely.
Oh, 100%. You love the movie too?
For lots of reasons.
Let's name one.
The lack of character development.
Okay, name another one.
You recommended it?
I didn't recommend it to you.
Earlier this year, I watched Annihilation, largely on Amber's glowing recommendation.
I don't remember recommending it to you specifically.
You did not recommend it to me and say, Dave, you should watch this.
Right, no.
But I came across the movie and I said, oh, Amber really likes this movie and has spoke very highly of it. Let's give it a watch.
And
it was awful. Like it was a really terrible movie by any measure I can find.
Why do you feel that way? Okay, so when you go to a movie, what do you look for in a movie?
Story.
Okay, there's a story there.
Not a good one.
There's a story there.
Not a good one that makes sense.
Okay, what to you is a story?
I mean, there's that whole Greek drama template that they use, and it doesn't necessarily need to be that. And
hero's journey stuff is usually
sure. Yeah, I mean, climax in Act 3 and whatever, but it doesn't even need to be that really. I'm not. It's not like that at all for me. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I'm really okay with ambiguity. Mm-hmm. I don't need everything wrapped up in a bow. I really like the thought of oh wow, wonder how that went going forward. I like those.
Right.
But the world just didn't make cohesive sense to me. And like I say, I just didn't care about any of the characters. And I felt like there were interesting cinematic, but I don't think that they made. I don't think they were. Sorry.
You're fine.
I don't think that they were part of a cohesive world. It felt to me like the cinematographer or writer or whoever said, wouldn't it be cool if we did this and this and this? And they kind of cobbled it together into one story that those set pieces or design elements didn't necessarily correlate.
Can you remember a specific example, where you felt that disjoint?
Yeah, sure. They got to the barracks where the army guys had been, and they found the videotape of the guy who was cut. Yeah, and they cut him open, and there was worm like a giant wormy snaky thing,
or his intestine. It was his intestines,
right? But I mean, they weren't really his intestines.
I mean, it was
it was where his intestines should have been,
right?
But it wasn't because intestines have a look.
I mean, they looked like intestines to me.
No, they were just. It was like snake things.
Have you seen your intestines?
I've not seen my own. I've seen intestines.
Okay. Well, they look like intestines.
They were. I think intestines are generally lumpier than that.
Not if you're contracting them or pulling them. If they're coming alive and becoming their own entity in there, and they're stretching out, then they probably be more smooth. But right now inside our body, it's all lumped up.
Yeah, right.
But when if it's stretched out and moving and pulsating, it probably looks soft, smoother.
It means I have to fart.
So when you got to the barracks, and
I felt the idea of the shimmer was that it was kind of prismatically warping DNA and combining DNA from several living things.
Right. Lots of.
But in that instance, there's nothing that has intestines that slither around like snakes.
No, I think it's becoming like snakes.
Right. But that parts of your body don't be your intestines don't have anything to do with snakes.
No.
Other than the fact that they are generally in the same shape. But
nothing has to do with trees or flowers or
But I think if you had in the case of, I'm trying to think of a good example, the crocodile shark monster that they encountered.
It was a floral one. It was kind of it was.
I took it to be and the flowers in that same area were several species of plants were mushing their DNA to making one plant. Mm-hmm. In this case, it's not necessarily mushing DNA. It's just replacing body parts with other animals.
Well,
and that's a totally different biological concept.
My question to you is, did you get stuck on trying to find the rhyme and reason of why things were happening? Because like a lot of time, like we talked about this at Gen Con a little bit, like when we were drunk, and I was wondering, like, were you trying to find like the pattern of why things were happening? Like, why is it that there's two deer that one's light, one's dark, and they're moving exactly the same way, and then but that had nothing to do with genetic swapping.
Right.
Then you have the snaky intestines, and then you have the woman who was being eaten by the bear, and then she became imprinted in it and half mutated in it. And then you have like,
but like the bear itself had a weird skull face
because the human started to melt into it.
But like that's not a human face.
No, it was a half mutated thing. Like as it was eating her, it was starting to take on her, kind of like it was mushing together.
Okay.
There's actually a really good, the sculptor who did, I saw pictures of like which was really cool to see the actual like bear itself, like the sculpt of it, to see like half her face and like the skull coming down stuff. So I don't know, were you getting kind of just like, were you just trying to find the rhyme or reason?
Like, yeah, none of those things made sense to the way that I understand genetics. And I think the way that genetics is generally like portrayed.
Right. I think that's the whole thing of why they went into the shimmer, why they had that, the main character, who I don't give a shit about. I agree with you. I don't think the characters were that compelling as characters.
Right.
They were very, just like very two-dimensional as far as characters go. And I think that's fine because they weren't supposed to necessarily be the highlight of the show.
Okay.
I think, and I don't know, could be speaking out of my ass, that overall for me, it was more of an overall feeling of what they were trying to portray, of this like, we're confused. Nobody knows what's happening, really. This is so alien to us. We don't understand it. And we're actually thrown into the middle of all of this where nothing really makes sense. And we're kind of just like the characters or the people in this world where we're just like confused about the whole situation, which is fine for me. It actually kind of reminds me a lot of D&D modules.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, this event happened. We don't know what's going on. You need to go explore it and figure it out. You go and explore and figure it out. You find weird things, and then you get to the end of it, and it's like, you killed the big bad. The end.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of. And like I say, framed within that way, like, okay. I mean, that isn't what necessarily appeals, I don't think, because like there's lots of movies that like circle on that premise, like we have to go fight the bad guy or whatever, and those aren't necessarily good movies. No,
there's a YouTube channel that does video analysis that maybe I can send. I haven't personally watched the Annihilation one yet, but they kind of talk about it probably more professionally than we could ever.
Yeah, oh sure, and I'm not a film critic at all.
No, but I don't. I mean, neither am I.
And I mean, you know, I don't watch very many movies anyway, and I'm generally not happy with movies. Like I'm trying to think of the last movie that I really liked.
God, I know. Other than like, and I liked Annihilation not in the way that I like a lot of other movies. So I put Annihilation as like this interesting art piece that was fun to experience. Not necessarily, ooh, this is a movie that I'm going to watch over and over and over and over again. Like I have movies that are like, I love.
Right.
Princess Bride, UHF, movies like that I love that are like movies.
Right.
And then you have like this weird artsy film over here.
And I think you could probably appreciate the visual beauty of that movie more than I ever could.
And I always like the concept of, you know, I'm always looking at stuff for D&D inspiration or like game inspiration. So to watch Annihilation, be like, oh, I like this concept of like something mushing things together and like this weird body horror-esque, you know, we don't really understand, honestly, how our biology, you know, could be affected by something like this, and this is really strange and weird, and what if this kind of stuff happened? What would it be like? And that was just really cool for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Was there any part of it that you liked?
Like I say, I think visually it was pretty at times.
I liked the part where, you know how you saw that man get cut?
Yeah.
And then they go back to the pool earlier and you have this weird, like, creepy, cemented, fungal,
right,
blown apart man. That was cool visually.
I guess. I don't know. Like I say, I don't know.
It's pretty.
But luckily, we don't have to worry about any weird, like, symbiont creatures, like, coming up out of the ground now.
You say that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only thing that gets me to sleep at night, knowing there's nothing weird going to come up out of the ground to try to, like, poke its finger at me.
Have you ever heard of the devil's dipstick?
Like, in like a sexual way? No, I've never heard of it. Okay. What is the devil's dipstick? So,
this morning, I was walking my dog, and I took a picture of a cute little mushroom. I was like, oh, cute little mushroom.
And you're like, if I eat this, I'm going to grow large.
Yeah, whatever. It's so cute. And like, you know, a normal ass looking mushroom. Then I walk over closer to this building, and I look down like, who just threw a bunch of baby carrots on the ground? And I get closer, and I see this.
Oh, God.
Do you want to describe this to the viewers?
Yeah, I mean, looking at it just off the cuff, like it appears to be like a bright orangish reddish color, and essentially looks like an earthworm sticking straight up out of the ground that's wearing like a turtleneck. But he doesn't have any arms because he's an earthworm. Right.
So, just to give you some scale, it was like about the width of my middle finger.
Oh, God.
It was huge. It was nasty.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I thought it was alive at first. I thought it was like a worm or something. So I got close to it.
Right.
And like I wanted to see if it moved or anything. I thought about taking a stick and poking it.
Right.
But I didn't do it because I was afraid.
Of it biting
because then also then it was in three of them. Like
oh my gosh.
It was three of them in a circle.
Wow.
Okay.
Like, okay, quick question. You said they were near a building.
Yes.
Was that building some kind of like nuclear waste facility or Indian burial ground?
No. It was just a garage.
Pet cemetery, maybe? I don't know. Because that is legitimately creepy.
It, honestly, if you look up the devil's dipstick on Google and go to images, there are worse pictures.
Wow.
This was benign. It literally looks like a penis jutting, like, up out of the ground. You want to see some of these pictures?
Not really.
Well, you're gonna. Look at that.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's a penis.
It's fucking offensive as shit.
That's awful.
So what it is, it's a fungus. Mutinous.
I don't believe it. Yeah, mutinous, I believe.
Mutinous elegans, commonly known as the elegant stinkhorn.
Oh.
The dog stinkhorn. Facies carota. The headless stinkhorn, or the devil's dipstick.
Okay, I'm going to pause real quick here.
Yes.
If any of our listeners are looking for band names, you got like some really good band, especially if you've got like a ska punk kind of thing.
Right.
Devil's Dipstick. What was it? The something elegant stinkhorn.
Headless stinkhorn.
Headless stinkhorn. Like all those are really good band names. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
So it's typically found growing on the ground or in small groups on woody debris or leaf litter.
What else would it grow on? Like no, it doesn't. Like it hanging down from trees, like slapping you in the face, like grow in my ear. Like I want to know everywhere this thing grows because it's.
Ugh. It grows in Japan, Europe, and Eastern North America.
Huh.
Okay. The fruit body begins its development in an egg form, resembling somewhat a puffball partially submerged in the ground. As the fungus matures, a slender orange to pink-colored stalk emerges that tapers evenly to a pointed tip. The stalk is covered with a foul-smelling, slimy green spore mass on the upper third of its length.
Which we would call the head.
Yes. Flies and other insects feed upon the slime, which contains the spores, assisting in their dispersal.
That's nasty.
Due to the repellent odor, mature specimens are not generally considered edible.
Good.
Although there are reports of the immature eggs being consumed.
Yeah.
It is disgusting.
Wow. That's, honestly, like I thought I was familiar with like all of the gross things that grew in our part of the world, and I'm sorely mistaken because that I was not aware of. Oh wow.
Some of these pictures are highly offensive.
I would say they're safe for work if you're
No.
if you're like a fungologist.
Yeah, but I would not look this up if you're at work right now.
I would. Well, I have this summer has summer's winding down, but this has been a hard. I'm generally a man of the earth, and I'm a live and let live kind of guy.
Okay.
And I share this world with lots of creepy crawly dudes.
Yeah,
and so I wouldn't bother the devil's dipstick if it showed up in my front yard.
I would probably. Well, I did exactly what I would do. Walked away. Well, took a picture and walked away.
Took a picture and walked away. But I've had I had to declare war on nature this summer.
Oh.
We have had a paper wasp problem that defies all description. This is like a Stephen King novel with these damn wasps.
Like where?
Like everywhere.
On your house?
On the house. We got an old house, so some of the windows don't seal tight, and so they get in there and make big nests in between the storm window and the regular window.
Oh, so you can actually see them nesting.
Oh, yeah. And you've been to my house. Most of our listeners have not. But there was a nest that was under our front deck.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Our front deck is fairly low.
Yes.
And there was a nest under there that, had basically decimated my family. What
do you mean?
Everybody had gotten stung.
Oh, shit.
The dog had gotten stung, the wife had gotten stung, the kids had gotten stung, the babysitter's gotten stung. And what happened is the first person that would walk across the deck would vibrate it and make the wasps really mad.
Right.
And then the second person would get stung.
Wow. And
so I broke down, I called an exterminator, which is almost hurts my my manliness.
Okay.
Because I can kill wasps, but
how big are we talking? How many wasps are usually in a
when they killed it, they said it was a quote unquote big one, which I'm guessing was probably 80 wasps.
Okay. I don't really know much about paper wasps.
They're nasty.
What's the difference between a paper wasp
they
and a
build
wasp?
their nests are basically kind of made out of papery cells.
Yeah, I've seen I've seen a paper wasp nest, I think. Yeah.
But basically, a honeybee, for example, will sting you and pulls their stinger out, so they can really only sting once.
Yeah.
Wasps don't give a shit.
Yeah,
they will sting you as much as they like.
Yeah.
And they're territorial and they're angry.
Yeah.
And their sting really hurts. And so basically I had everyone in the family in tears. I called the exterminator. I was like, dude, come fix this problem. He's like, well, have you thought about just crawling under there and spraying them? I'm like, yeah. I would have to crawl, army crawl under this deck
and
in the dark. And then by the time I found them, they would sting me to death. Mm-hmm. And I'm not interested in that game. No. So I called them out and they fixed it. And since then, I've killed 2 more nests on the front porch.
Because you have the stairs up and it's one little landing.
Right,
and then you have the second stairs up and it's a taller one. So they were under the smaller one?
Yeah.
God.
Although I found them, like I say, I've killed I think 4 nests on that front porch this spring, which is weird. We've lived there for a long time and never had that problem.
I wonder what the deal is. Remember that year you had...
Mary Berry cursed me.
Oh, shit. Well...
She called the wasps down.
Yeah. Do you remember the year where we had a really, really warm summer?
Yeah.
Or we had a warm winter.
Yeah.
And there was more aphids than ever. And it was still when you kept bees and we got honeydew.
Yes, exactly.
Do you think there's maybe something going on weather-wise?
It must be. And I don't know if it's because it was hot at the wrong time of year and so they went... Because the front door of my house is on the north side. So maybe they wanted nests in the shade?
Maybe?
I don't have an explanation for it, but normally, like I say, it's oh, there's wasps, whatever. They'll let you be. Now it's if I see a wasp, he's dead. It's brutal.
I have a similar feeling with ants.
Yeah.
I swarms of things always make my I'm starting to get goosebumps right now thinking of this because I don't like small swarms of things. And ants are pretty freaky when they swarm.
Right.
So one year, Brandon and I went down to Florida and we drove, which from where we're at, it's an 18-hour drive. And so we decided that we would just stop, drive 10 hours and stay the night halfway down, halfway through the drive. And so that made us stop in Georgia.
Okay.
So we stayed in a hotel in Macon, Georgia. That's like, 30 minutes outside of Atlanta. So we can wake up early and then skip all the Atlanta traffic. So we stay at this hotel and then we go to our cottage in Sanibel. Love Sanibel.
Right. Sanibel's great.
And so you know that when you're in Sanibel, you don't really have to drive that much. It's like you get on a bike and you go wherever. And the beach is usually really close to wherever you stay, so you don't ever have to really get in your car, especially if you brought your own food. So we let the car sit for, I want to say 2.5 days, almost 3 days before we decided to drive down the island to go to a different place.
Okay.
So we drive and we go out to eat, and we put our like backpacks in the back seat or whatever. We get back out from the restaurant. We go get our backpacks to go get water and switch out the water. And then Brandon yells, and he's got a mass of ants crawling up his arm.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I've never told you this story, have I?
No.
Okay. So then he throws his bag onto the ground, and he's like, what the hell? Like, where all these ants come from? We have a cooler back there that we had already emptied and had put into the fridge. And so we move the cooler off his back seat, and they have started to nest in
inside the car.
So inside the belt buckle, all along the seat all like the floor mat. When we picked the floor mat up, eggs.
Yeah.
Just tons of little white eggs. And so I'm serious. Look at my arm right now.
Yeah.
God.
Super goosebumpy.
I hate it so much. I've had nightmares about this ant swarm. So then we have to drive down to the Jerry's or whatever. It's like a grocery store and buy like Raid.
Yeah.
So we're driving this anthill to the grocery store to murder them. Oh, I hated it. And it was just like...
there must have been a queen that either...
got in the car...
Came through an open window or...
through a vent or something. Because it had to happen in Georgia. Because I remember we got out of the... Like, it was one of those things where we were driving down, I found an ant.
Yeah.
And I was like, they must have gotten in the car at some point in Georgia.
Right.
And just started nesting for
because
3
like
days.
I say, I mean, those things work that the queen emits a pheromone that attracts the workers.
Yes.
And so like they won't go anywhere she doesn't go. And they must have said, oh my gosh, look at this cool car. It's a perfect place to build a house.
Oh my God. It was awful. Like, it was like vacuuming up sand.
Yeah.
How many ants. It was disgusting. Ugh, it makes my skin crawl.
See, that doesn't even begin to bother me.
Really?
No.
Like, ants fucking bite, too.
Well, sure they do. Sure they do.
God. Ugh.
And, like, when you're messing with their nest, they get a little fussy.
Yes. Yeah. Like, that's why they swarmed all over his hand and started probably biting him and stuff.
But, yeah, I had the beehive for several years. So, and bees and ants are closely related and work kind of in similar ways that way.
Yeah, like hives.
So, like, yeah, I mean, the beehive is not... It's not unsettling in the slightest. It's cool.
But beehives produce honey. Ants produce more ants.
Right. I mean, ideally, but I thought didn't think it was fascinating because it gave me honey. I thought it was fascinating because, like...
You like bees.
I mean, I just like stuff like that. But
not wasps.
No, wasps are...
the devil's bug.
Yeah. And it's like, I explained to my son, I said, I am using poison to kill them. And I'm spraying it from as far away as I reasonably can.
Right.
And I'm using every advantage I can to kill them. But they do the same thing to me. Their stingers have poison.
Yeah.
They fly. They attack me when I'm not looking. It's a fair fight.
Right.
It's at very least a fair fight. So, do we want to skip Pellets of Wisdom this time?
We have no wisdom.
I'm sorry, we're out of wisdom, you guys. We need questions. Send us questions at owls@geekspective.com.
Right.
Send us your question. We're apparently out of questions. Send us new questions, and we will address your problems, concerns, and medical maladies in our next podcast.
Wow, you're so good at that.
Thanks.
I don't do very well.
You do very good. You do a lot of neat things.
I don't know about that. Actually, I do know about that because I'm part of a network. We're part of a network.
We are part of a network. Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh.
It's called Dipstick.
Oh, that was not the network I was hoping for.
What were you hoping for? Neural network?
Which network?
Neural network.
Neural network? No. Like something with money, Like Wealth Gospel Network.
I wouldn't know what that is.
I don't know either, but I want to be a part of it.
Okay, well.
Sorry. I guess we're part of Geekspective.
Yeah. And, I do some other cool stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I have a podcast that's not owls.
No. Oh, wait, you do?
Yes.
And it's called?
Shapeshift.
Amber Presents.
Shapeshift. a AP podcast of my journey becoming a GM.
Mm-hmm. And right now you're playing a campaign called Book of Spring, which is using the Ryutama
system.
Yes. Super cool game. I like it.
And Dave and I are both on a different podcast called
Tales from Moxbury.
And I play a goblin that is married to Dave.
And I play a half-elf that is not married to a goblin. And together we subvert Josh's clocks.
Yes. Is a Blades in the Dark game. It's also an actual play.
Yeah.
All right. Hey.
Let's get out of here.
Wait, but first.
Oh, okay. One more thing.
I want to ask.
Yeah, ask.
If you like us.
Oh, you're asking them, not me.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about you.
I'm out of here.
All right, bye, Dave. If you like us, it would be really nice if you could leave a rating or review on iTunes, or just share this podcast with someone that you think might enjoy it and not make fun of us or threaten our lives.
I'm gone. I can't talk.
Shut up. You're still in here.
Ah, darn it.
Can't hide from these owl eyes. So yeah, the end.
Yeah. We'll see you in 2 weeks. No, we won't see you. Listen. You'll listen to us in 2 weeks.
With your ears.
Yeah, with both of maybe both of your ears, maybe one ear.
Or maybe an elephant's ears or a shark's ears.
I don't know. Let's quit.
I was trying to make like an Annihilation joke here.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you walked into a shimmer, you would have elephant ears.
Yeah, maybe.
But
nobody would care about you.
Nobody cares about your stupid husband that came back from who knows where. Anyway, okay, bye.
Bye.
I hate everything.